Hey folks, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of my photographs from my gloss negatives that are either in calendars or in books. In the case of the calendars, these are newer calendars, and the people that put the calendars together asked that I use the negatives in them. The others were in books that they were in books prior to me purchasing the negatives. So we'll start with the calendars, and I got a bunch of negatives from what has become a friend of mine, Nelson Wydell, and he gifted me a bunch of negatives, and some of them really, a lot of them are very good. They're just really top notch. And this is a photograph. Initially, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was Philadelphia, but it's not. And this is the New Jersey State House. And so this organization asked me if they could use that image, and I agreed to it on the condition that it was one-time use and no. The photos that are used from my collection in this calendar were taken, and this is a historical railroad association, and they were taken in Perrysville, Indiana. And this is the first of the two that were used, and it's a fantastic picture. I bought about 30 or so. I can't remember exactly. But I did see a glimpse of this photograph, and most of them were kind of sight unseen, and so this is kind of what led me to buy it, but it was a gamble because when you're buying them and you don't know really what's in there, you can lose out sometimes. But this time was not the case. It was definitely a winner. And the association found out because I had posted these pictures, and they found out about them and asked if they could use it in this calendar, which I agreed to. And that's great. But also what was great was a gentleman in Perrysville, Indiana, actually collects these kinds of images because he's very much a historical kind of figure in Perrysville, Indiana, and he knew who this photographer was, which was fantastic. So that was a real fine for that. So I don't have the negatives anymore, but I do have the images still. So this is the front of a railroad station, and I love this picture so much because I kind of feel like I'm standing to the right of this woman, and I'm kind of watching what's going on. These people are waiting for the train to come in. So this is the front of the railroad station. And I was lucky enough, or we were lucky enough, to get the center fold. And this is the back of the railroad station. And what was going on was they were moving this back to be able to accommodate a new track. So this was, you can see they're on rollers. What a big endeavor. But yeah, this is the back of the railroad station, and they're getting ready to move it back. So I was very pleased to be able to support this organization and get these images in there. So that's the second calendar that I have images in. Here's another book that some of my photographs were in, and this is the book is called Forever in Sumter, and it's of a town in Wisconsin. And there's more than one book from this series. There's one called Only in Sumter, Also in Sumter, Always in Sumter, and this one, of course, is Forever in Sumter. So I'm sure in the other three books, which I don't have, there's likely some pictures that I have in my collection. But this is one of them. Actually, there's two of this event, and this was Era Pobjoy's wedding shower, and it was taken by either Estelle Acola or her husband George. And it might have been taken by George, or she might have used a shutter relief because Estelle is in this photograph. She's right here. And Estelle took quite a few photographs. I have about, I don't know, I think 120 or more of her images. And she was a very good amateur photographer. This photo I have also, and this is the Acola family cottage, and I have this negative, and um, so that's very cool. This photograph is actually Estelle Carpenter. That's her name, her maiden name, and this is as a young child. I do not have this negative. Obviously, it was taken by maybe her parents. I'm not sure. But I have a lot of the Acola negatives, and several of the grandchildren are still living, and they have received copies of the photographs that their grandmother took, and they all had memories of their grandmother. So it was a great story. So this is another book that has a one photograph that I have the negative for, and this is Stars of the Sky Legends All, and this is about women aviators. And the negative that I have is this one, and it's actually cropped in because there's some damage on the photo, the overall photograph. But this is a photograph of Laura Ingalls, who was a uh, pioneer in women's aviation. So great negative, and I love that it's in this book. So this is another book that I have a photograph, a glass negative of a photograph in this book, and it's a book on Mennonite women of Lancaster County. Spoken to this woman, uh, very nice, and I'm originally from near Lancaster County, and so these are really kind of special to me. And Um, this is the negative that I have, but I have a lot other of his negatives that is not in this book. But this one is so fantastic because it's a photograph of men and women swapping hats. You know, the men were wearing the women's hats, the women wearing men's hats. And it was taken in 1898, obviously by this title. Fantastic photograph. Again, this is Dillman Baumberger, and they have it as him being a professional photographer. I don't know if that's the case, but in any case, he took some really fantastic pictures, and I kind of have all the pictures in albums. So if you search Lancaster County or Lancaster, you'll find that album that has a lot of his other pictures. This one I don't have, but I wish I had because it's the prettiest. Let's see if I can find her. I tagged it here. Come on now. Oh no, I'm sorry. This little girl. Oh my gosh. Is she not beautiful? I would love to have had that negative. She's just gorgeous. Beautiful little girl. But yeah, this is a great book. Has a lot of fantastic pictures, and she did a lot of research that went into this book. So if you're in Lancaster County, anywhere in that location in Pennsylvania, great book on Mennonite women. This book I do not own, but the photograph that is used in it, I do own that negative, and it's one of my favorites in my collection for a lot of reasons. Obviously, because of the significance of the subject. But this photograph was used in this book that he wrote called My Larger Education. And the book was written in 1911. So obviously the photograph was taken prior to that. But this is a prized addition to my collection. I paid a fair amount of money for it, but not sorry about that. Some things are just worth the money. So another one of my negatives, that photographs from my negatives used in a book. I'm sure there may be others. I just don't know of any, but I think this covers everything.